Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for the introduction. So we heard a lot of talks about the next 5 years and what will happen in the future. So in this talk I will talk about the past 5 years. So what happened in real life and what we achieved in our global scheduling solution project for Huber+Suhner. And I really enjoyed this journey through the past 5 years because it was really a very nice project, a very successful project, a very good partnership with Huber+Suhner. So it's a bit this culture of cable industry that we were talking also in the breaks during the last days, and I really enjoyed it. So first of all, very short introduction about CEO. So what we are doing is intelligent planning and efficient processes for our customers to make them sustainably profitable and for production without waste. And when we talk about waste, we are talking about waste of time, waste of resources, of course also waste of money and waste of material. But yeah. And then a short slide to Huber+Suhner. So I think the important thing is they are focused on 3 technologies. So it's radio frequency, fiber optics and low frequency. And they are in the 3 market segments of industry, communication and transportation. I think this is the most important thing that you should take from it. Of course, you can find more information about the company in the internet. But I want to spend the time really on this journey through the last 5 years. So we started our journey in Switzerland, where the headquarters of Huber+Suhner is. And so they wanted to do a global MES project, but they had some requirements for scheduling and also for workforce management. So, and this is the point where we come into place, because normally the MES providers, they have a very good MES system, but if you have very specific requirements for scheduling, then this is often not inside the MES. And also for workforce management, there is quite a lack in the existing tools. So we were invited to join Siemens at this time to present the APS and workforce management part in this project. So at the end, Huber+Suhner decided to take the MES of Infor, and we stayed with the APS and workforce management for this part. So what was the target of the project? So I think that the main points here are they saw that they have to do something to build up this backbone of the future and the foundation. And when we talk about AI and the future, then we know it's not just going there, implementing it, it's working. So you have to build up first this foundation. You need to have the data for it. You need to have the processes that you can apply then and get usage of the AI functionalities that we have today. And of course it was a topic of harmonization of the processes and the IT diversity throughout the company with different sites, also after some acquisitions. And I think here we are again at this point of the workforce, the qualified workforce in IT departments. It's often a critical resource. So if they have to support 20 different systems, that's really a problem in real world. So it makes sense to reduce it. Okay, then 2021, we started in Switzerland, in Herisau, with the cable production. We implemented OpCenter APS. So I don't want to go into detail for the product because we have not so much time. Just to give you a short insight how it looks like. And of course, in the cable production, what was one challenge that we faced there, it's the extrusion machines, and you have sequence-dependent setup times there. So in the SCP routing, you have an average setup time for these operations, but in reality, it's really sequence-dependent. So, and there are different criteria for different extrusion machines, how this setup time is then calculated. So this was one of the things. And what we do in these cases, so we have the OpCenter APS, which is really a good tool, a very flexible tool. But if you have really something like this with a setup time optimization and you really want to optimize it, then with the out-of-the-box algorithms, you can't achieve it, or only to a certain degree. So what we do as MCP is, and it was said in the introduction, so we are really working also with the Technical University on building up optimization algorithms. And we have them in the cloud, in the Azure Function app. And we can use them from the API, from OpCenter APS, but you can also use it from any other APS system, MES system, ERP system. It doesn't matter. Yeah? So, so we are using this here to optimize the setup times for the extrusion machines. Okay, then the second part was the workforce management tool. It's a web tool that we developed together with Fissmann, German company. You might know if you like winter sports. They are sponsoring a lot of winter sports. And yeah, you have modules for skill matrix, absence list, shift plan, and the employee scheduling. And I just want to show you how this employee scheduling works. But the main thing why we developed it is because we wanted to connect the production scheduling with the workforce scheduling. Well, in our experience, we often faced the problem that we did the production scheduling, and then the next day we looked at it and we saw, okay, they produced something, but it was not what we had in the schedule, or they produced less than we had in the schedule. And we asked why. And then they said, yeah, there were 2 people were not here, or yeah, there was one here, but he is not a skilled person, and so on. And what we saw is that in the companies, there was no direct connection between the workforce scheduling and the production scheduling. They were talking to each other once a day in the shop floor meeting, but there was no direct interface. So we wanted to change that. And now in the workforce management, you have the different work centers, and you have the demand for employees coming from the production schedule, from the APS. And now you have different possibilities. So you can either schedule manually, but you can also schedule automatically. Let me, So you just choose the time scale that you want to schedule. We see the algorithm is running. And then you have the employee scheduled, respecting the skills, respecting the working times, respecting priorities, and so on. Yeah? But so now you can do this for the, let's say you do it on Friday for the next week. But of course, in real life, when you are on Monday or latest Tuesday, something will have changed. So let's assume one employee is now absent because gets sick or whatever. So we can remove this employee, and then you don't want to remove everything and schedule completely new because you already communicated to your employees what they should do. Yeah? So we have here a repair assistant, it's called, and you get, maybe it was a bit too fast or not, I don't know, but you get really only one step that you can then say, yeah, okay, I want to change this or not. So it's not like remove everything, schedule again, and you get a completely different picture. But it's really to make small changes. But it's not the operator or the team leader who has to decide. He gets he has this tool to help him. So if there would be a chat bot where I write check the schedule and then you get this, then you would say it's AI. Like I pressed on a button, maybe you have the feeling it's not AI, but I don't know where is the difference then. Yeah. Okay, so then let's go 1 year further, 2022. So we had the first rollout to Poland. They have 2 sites in the north of Poland for cable assembly. And during this implementation in Poland, so the goal was to replace an old system that was developed individual for this site in Poland. It was an old tool, it was not included in the network. It was like a bit workaround, let's say, or running outside of the company system and IT, and we wanted to replace it. And so we set it up, the APS and the workforce management, but the MES implementation failed. And why did it fail? Because it was too complex. It was for the manual assembly process, it was just too much effort to maintain it. It was too complex for the operators. And of course, if you have a cable production and you have the machine and you want to connect it to the machine and you have all these drums and whatever and lengths and so on, then you need the MES system. But for manual assembly, you don't need it. Yeah? And so the production manager there, he came up with an idea and he asked, wouldn't it be possible to have an easy web tool to show these next tasks to the operator, and like a Jira board or something like this, where you have the columns and you just move it there if you when you're finished. Yeah. And we said, yeah, that's a good idea. We can do it. And 2 months later, we had this in place, and we call it shop floor monitor. And it's really, so from the beginning, it was the purpose to have a very easy tool. You have 3 columns to do, in progress and done. And you see the operations that you should do. It's coming from the APS again, from the schedule. And the operator just has to move it. We will come back to this later. Yeah. Okay, so we had, and I mean, if we wouldn't have done this, then we wouldn't be able to go live with the APS, because if you don't have the right production status, you can't schedule. If you don't know if the operation is already done or not, you will block capacity on your resources, but in reality it's already done. So we need this production status. And with this it was possible. Yeah? So we had the go live in Poland. Then in 2023, we had kind of a phase of stabilization in the areas where we already had the systems in place, and we also expand to other areas in these sites. So in Switzerland, they don't have only the cable production in Herisau, but they also have connector production. They also have assembly part. They also have a specialized area for mechanical products. And we went there. We were so really in a good mood. We had this implemented in Poland. We had it implemented in the cable area. So we came there and said, yeah, that's the future. So we have this APS workforce management and so on, and we want to implement it. But we found out that for some areas it was not the right thing, or the APS especially. It was an overkill for some areas. So they said, I don't know what I produce in 1 week. I have to wait the next day in the morning what is there in the shelf, and this is the things that I will operate on. Yeah? And then of course you don't need the scheduling. So we said, okay, then let's skip the APS part, and we're just using the workforce management and the shop floor monitor. Yeah, and what we also did during this phase was building up more and more reports. So reporting not in the sense of to report to someone, but to use the data from the different systems and to show it in a SQL report and use it first to give information to other people, to learn about production, to see what went wrong or is going to make problems in future. And we used the data from all 3 tools to combine them. And we had a lot of use cases coming up from production that we could solve by using these reports. So it's, for example, communication between warehouse team and production on the assembly line. Yeah? And it's also to see which orders are critical to be delayed in future, not when it's already happened, but to look into the future. Then 2024, we had our rollout in the US and in Costa Rica. And so one also cable assembly. And one thing that we had in Costa Rica, for example. So of course we are improving our tools, our solutions throughout the whole 5 years. And in Costa Rica, for example, it was relevant that we have manual time bookings in this shop floor monitor, because they said, we know that our routing times are wrong, but they didn't know what is the right value. Yeah? So they wanted to trace really the times from the production. So we included that. And also, as you can see here, we have this order overview, which also made it much easier to track where an order is at a certain moment. And also, you see here, we have this comment at the end, on the right end. So if something happens in the production and an operator leaves a comment here, then from this second on, it's transparent and visible for all others as well. Yeah? And sometimes you want to give important information about this product here to the next stations as well. Okay, then I wanted to show you one example of this kind of reports. So this is a production status report, it's called. And you see the different production orders with their quantity. We have this traffic light if the order is critical to be delayed, or if it's green, then you have enough time left to finish the production. And you see different phases of this cable assembly process. So you see at which phase which order is at the moment. And what is quite interesting, I think, is the second last column. It's the time without movement. So we had the problem there that sometimes the production order was started, but then it was stuck somewhere in production. And maybe it was just not seen, forgotten. So we had this talk today about the traceability. We want to track where the things are. So sometimes, in this case, you see if it stays there for 3 days and it's not worked on, this production order anymore, then this should give you an alert. And of course, we also have something like dashboards, more than for a higher level of management. So this is an annual report that we provide to our customer to show what we achieved. And this was end of 2024, so it's not the current numbers, but just to give you a feeling what we did in this, and about the quantity. So we have 407 work centers, 56,000 active operations that we handle at one moment in time. We have confirmed 1.5 million hours in the shop floor monitor of labor work, so on. So 11 areas in 4 countries, and at this time 970 employees in the workforce management. So right now we are already above the 1,000. Yeah. Okay, and then 2025, this year. So it's just 2 weeks ago that I have been to Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, and we had the rollout there. And the great thing is it takes us 5 days on site to implement APS, workforce management, and the shop floor monitor. And it means at the end of this week, they're really using it in their daily process. So we are really live. Of course, not with 100% of functionality, not 100% of quality, but we are using it for the daily process. And I think this is really great. If you think about what it costs to implement 3 software tools for one site, often you have long projects, you have a lot of costs, and with this global approach, if you have managed to establish this solution, then the rollout is really fast and easy. And before this week, we had 2 online meetings with them. That's it. And of course, we had the preparation from the IT side to have the database ready, to have the access for the users prepared. And that's it. And already after this week, we had improvements. For example, we replaced a daily manual created Excel report, which was exported from SAP, then copied to another Excel, where it was prepared, and this in a daily manner. So now it was just, it's one click and you have it. And how is it possible that you can introduce this system in only 5 days? And you see here the operators, it's a manual assembly. So it's really, and it's not they don't were at university or studied informatics or something, but they can use it. And why? Because it's really simple, and I will show you what the operator has to do a confirmation. And this confirmation is sent to SAP automatically. So you confirm the operation in SAP, and that's everything that you have to do. So you can scan the order with the barcode, for example, or you type in the order number or part of the order number. You move it from open to done, and you click OK. And that's it. And you have confirmed the operation step in SAP. And before that, what happens? They don't confirm every operation step because it's too complicated. The operator don't confirm themselves in SAP, because then they would need a license for SAP, and it's too complicated for them. They would have to go somewhere to do it. So, and then they go to the leader to tell the leader, I have finished it, and the leader will do the confirmation in SAP. With this, it's easy for everyone to do it, and yeah, and we have the transparency throughout the process. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I will skip the last slides. So maybe you have some question. If not, it's fine as well. But yeah.
The solution is quite easily adjustable to other industries as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's not specific for the cable industry. Yeah.
It's the first planning and workforce matrix scheduling is really well optimized. Interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, we really saw that workforce scheduling is it's not the most important thing in your company, or it's not seen as that. Yeah, and so we have here so many talks about different areas. So it's so much that you can do and can improve, but it's really a low-hanging fruit if you take the right tools. Yeah. So of course you can think about implementing other things. Also the scheduling part, it's much more complex. Yeah, but you have these low-hanging fruits that you can just collect. But many companies don't do it because they say we already have 7 projects going on, and that's a bit of the problem. But we hope that we found a really good solution, and it's really fast to implement. And behind this, also the shop floor monitor, it seems to be so easy, but it's a lot of logic and intelligence behind that. So we faced also through the process. So maybe you have seen it, but the quantity, when you move it to done, it's automatically filled with the full quantity of the order. Because before we had the problem that even typing in the produced quantity might be a problem for the operator. And we had wrong bookings. And so we implemented that it's not possible to overbook the quantity. So you can set the parameter to forbid overbooking. Yeah, and there is so much in it. And you can use it for really a lot of things, also outside the routing of SAP. Yeah, I could talk for 2 days, but I will stop now. Thank you very much.